For most players, the torch is simply a source of temporary light that drives away the night monster. However, it's actually a versatile tool that can greatly enhance your survival experience. This episode will focus on the torch and its underutilized functions. The torch is the easiest source of light to make. You only need 2 cut grass and 2 twigs to make it. Because it's so easy to make, it comes with drawbacks. The torch is the shortest lasting source of light, and its duration cannot be extended with fuel items. This means you need to be very careful and efficient with your torch, unless you intend to continuously make them. Additionally, its light radius is very small, so you can't see much except what's immediately around you. Luckily, there are many ways to use the torch that make up for its shortcomings. You could use it as a weapon, but it does pitiful damage and you end up wasting the fuel. If you want to use the torch offensively, use its alternative function to set something on fire. By default, this is set to right mouse key. Setting things ablaze will create a temporary source of light. The most obvious result of doing this is that it'll allow you to unequip your torch and save fuel. What you may not know is that, similar to a campfire, this fire can be used to keep warm and dry off, making it very useful in winter and spring. On the other hand, this is detrimental in summer because you'll increase the likelihood of overheating. The duration of the fire and the amount of light generated from burning an object is dependent on the size of the object. Generally, the larger the object, the stronger the fire and light generated from it. Note that not all things can be set ablaze. To find out what can be set ablaze, just mouse over it while having the torch equipped. If it says light, then it can be burnt. In some scenarios, you might find yourself far away from a flammable object. If this happens, you can drop a flammable item on the ground and light it on fire. This will provide you with temporary light and heat, so you can better assess your next move. The easiest way to drop an item is to grab it, hold left control, and left click. This will make it so you only drop one of the item instead of the entire stack. If for some reason you need more light or heat, just drop another flammable item next to the burning one. After a few seconds, the fire will spread and the duration of the fire will be renewed. Note that this only works with higher quality fuel such as manure, logs, and boards. Using logs is rather inefficient because you could just make a campfire instead, assuming you have the cut grass to do so. This technique is best utilized when you find yourself without a campfire and low on torch fuel without any materials to make more. Ash is an item that can be useful if you need health. It's only used in one recipe, the healing salve. Because of this, carrying around ash can be an inefficient use of an item slot. That means that in most cases you'll be making ash on the fly. This is where the torch comes into play. Drop a stack of flammable items and set it on fire. After it finishes burning, you'll have a stack of ash equal to the number of items in the stack. Cut grass is usually the best thing to burn because it's plentiful. While not exactly a torch technique, this is included because using the torch is the most standard way to do this. When I was still learning the game, I was scared of fighting spiders, so I tried to figure out a safe way to get rid of them. The basis of this technique is similar to making an instant fire. If you set something on fire, nearby flammable objects will also catch on fire. Use this technique when it's unsafe to approach an area. Drop a line of flammable items and light it from afar. Watch as the burning chains from item to item until it reaches your target and eventually burns it to a crisp. Every situation you're put in calls for a different approach, so there's no definite way to do this correctly. Just pick the safest option within your comfort zone. Burning eye plants can be difficult because they have a long attack range and will eat up anything you drop, but with proper timing, you can burn the item they're attempting to eat and set it ablaze. There are also less practical uses for this, but they're equally as fun. One of my favorite techniques is something I call flickering. Just like the name sounds, you flicker the light off and on by switching between your torch and another piece of equipment quickly. The easiest way to do this is to have your torch and equipment set to the same hotkey and double tapping it. The primary function of flickering is to prevent the night monster from attacking while saving fuel. The night monster's attack delay starts after the light goes off, so by flickering, you'll never be attacked. You don't have to flicker non-stop. Wait until you hear the night monster and quickly tap the hotkey twice to get a short burst of light. By doing this, you'll use up very little fuel and prevent an attack for the next few seconds. Because you can't see anything, make sure you check your map as much as possible so you know where you're going. Properly doing this technique will allow you to survive the night by using a fraction of the fuel that would have been necessary if you kept the torch on the entire duration. Be aware that this technique will severely deplete your sanity because you'll be in darkness for most of the night. This can be very daunting for newer players, so it may not be optimal for them. For experienced players, this is actually a boon. By lowering your sanity to dangerous levels, you'll trigger the spawning of shadow creatures. Shadow creatures drop nightmare fuel, a rare resource that's required for expanding your research level and making higher tier items. Until you have access to the ruins beneath the caves, nightmare fuel will continue to be a rare item. Flickering is also a necessary technique for rushing early exploration. As I stated in a previous episode, you want to finish exploring the edges of your world around days 7 to 10. Flickering makes it so you don't have to stop every night. Additionally, by acquiring nightmare fuel early, you can upgrade Chester into Shadow Chester by placing one nightmare fuel into each of its slots on the full moon. Although this isn't absolutely necessary, it's nice to have a few extra item slots. By using each of these techniques in the appropriate scenarios, you'll be able to overcome many hardships that may have limited your survival. I learned how to utilize most of these techniques when I was struggling through adventure mode. You'll find yourself using them there more than you will in survival mode. Regardless, they're useful options that are at your disposal. I hope this sheds some light on how you can use the torch more efficiently. Thanks for watching, and don't starve.